Hi everyone, my name is Alan Jacobson. I'm the founder and president of the Flow Creek Jacobson Initiative. We're a nonprofit 501c3 located in Stoughton, Mass, and our mission is to help children and adults develop more confidence and optimism, resilience and self-awareness through mindfulness programs. So I have two incredible ladies beside me. It's a wonderful feeling to be in the presence of greatness. This is our third show, and just the people we have had on are incredible to me. So Janet, this is your second time on. Janet Applefield, thank you for being here. You hold a master's degree of social work from Boston University, and for several years you've been working with a nonprofit organization facing history and ourselves in the Massachusetts Cultural Council. And the overarching message is to stand up to discrimination and injustice. And each year you speak to over 4,000, probably 5,000 students in person about your experiences as a child hidden during the Holocaust and the importance of standing up to bigotry and hatred. And I've seen you in person recently at, it was at Wilmington High School.
That's right.
They had this amazing amphitheater with probably 80 or 90 students, and I glanced back at them while you were speaking, and not one person was on their phone, nobody was talking to each other, all eyes were on you. It was very compelling. And so over the past 40 years, you presented your story at hundreds of venues, including the Massachusetts State House, Faneuil Hall in Boston, numerous universities across the U.S., museums and synagogues all over the planet. Next August, you will travel to Poland to be the keynote speaker at the Museum of Krakow, and will take place at the Oskar Schindler's Factory Branch. The name of the event is The Children of War. Your book that you have on this table, Becoming Janet, Finding Myself in the Holocaust, you just published in 2024, is a richly illustrated memoir, and has a study guide that reads like a novel. At 90 years old, you continue to write, research, and speak about your experience as a child survivor, teaching students about human rights and the ever-present specter of genocide. You have 2 grown children, and unfortunately a son that has recently passed. But you're also blessed with 5 grandchildren, and you live in the Boston area. And what I feel from you since I've known you for the past year is you exude confidence, compassion, joy, and wisdom. And you're a shining example of how the powers of resilience, courage, and optimism are vital qualities that can help us navigate extreme life challenges. So thank you for being here today.
My pleasure.
Today's topic is resilience. So, and you average about 10 presentations a month. I don't know where you get the energy.
Well, so far it's good.
Good. Stay healthy.
Yes.
Rashaun Morris. Rashaun Morris, you were born in Kansas City, Missouri, and you enlisted in the U.S. Coast Guard in 1987 and served a total of 34 and a half years in the Coast Guard. About half of that was regular and half was reserves. And after 17 years of active duty, you shifted to the Coast Guard Reserves and became the first African-American woman to be selected as the Reserve Gold Badge Command Master Chief in the U.S. Coast Guard. How many Master Chiefs are there in the Coast Guard at one time?
There's usually one for every district, so there could be under 30, but not a lot of, well, they have a lot more women now than they used to, so we are definitely going in the right direction.
Well, it's about time.
Absolutely.
Nice. You retired in 2020, and now you work as a civilian for the Coast Guard.
I do.
And at the 1st District Reserve Command Master Chief, you served as the principal advisor to the district commander on all matters affecting work life, climate control, morale, reserve, workplace, workforce policy, family and mission support, general well-being, as well as issues and initiatives pertaining to all Coast Guard Reserve members within the district. Sounds like an awful lot.
Yes, it's a big responsibility.
How did you balance all that?
Lots of prayer. It's very tough. So
time management.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. had a good support network.
Yeah, right after basic training, you were selected to conduct ceremonial operations before 2 U.S. presidents, world leaders, and dignitaries for the Coast Guard Ceremonial Honor Guard and Silent Drill Team outside of the Washington, D.C. area. And you did that for a couple of years?
I did.
And what was that experience like?
It was amazing. As a 18-year-old, first time really away from home, a culture shock on one hand, but an experience of a lifetime for sure, because it had been my dream for so long to join the Coast Guard. So it was exciting.
Did you have to apply for that position, or did they find you?
Well, ironically, I had to apply, and for the first time, my height was going to help because you had to be a certain height to get in.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like being tall until that job. And when I got there, I was short. So that was not fun, but then I wanted to be taller. So needless to say, the posture was very erect, trying to stand as tall as I could.
Right. So the Color Guard, were you with people in the Color Guard from other branches of the service?
Yes, we did a lot of joint service ceremonies.
Okay.
The White House, Pentagon.
So you met presidents.
So they were in front of me. I didn't get a chance to shake their hand. We weren't on those terms. So.
Well, I won't say anything about politicians right now. But you graduated from Yeoman School and provided administrative support to thousands of students rotating in and out of the Coast Guard Training Center in Petaluma, California. You also mobilized for disaster recovery response to the Deepwater Horizon oil spill in Mobile, Alabama, and Hurricane Sandy in Boston, Mass. You were a distinguished graduate of the Coast Guard Chiefs Academy, where you were awarded the Altus Tendo, did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
I Reach Higher,
Yes.
okay, award, and you've had a stellar 34-and-a-half-year career with the Coast Guard. So I've shortened your bio, just like I've shortened Janet's,
Thank
because
you.
there was so much there.
Thank you.
But a little bit more about you. You've remained engaged in several community groups, including the Women's Leadership Initiative, Leadership Diversity Advisory Council, and the local Chiefs Mess, and various panels to include leadership, mentorship, and diversity in hopes of continuing to make a difference. And I'd just like to read one endorsement of the many that's on your website. Rashaun Morris is an outstanding keynote speaker who captivates audiences with her expertise, authenticity, and genuine love for people. She has an incredible ability to connect with every listener, leaving them inspired and motivated to take action. Drawing on her strong leadership skills and disciplined background of the military, Rashaun brings both strength and compassion to the stage. She is not only a powerful communicator, but also a true leader who exemplifies integrity, resilience, and heart. And you reside in Brockton, Mass., and you have one adult child, Haley Morris.
Yes.
So thank you for being here.
Thank you for the invitation.
So with everything that's going on this planet and in this country, I can't think of a better subject today than resilience. How do we bounce back from things we can't do anything about, or seemingly can't do anything about? And so just talking specifically to your careers, both amazing careers, Janet, what qualities do you think you possessed as a clinical social worker for over 40 years that were able to help your patients the most?
Well, having the background of a survivor, surviving one of the darkest chapters in our history, or in the world's history, I learned some really important lessons, and I decided that I needed, what I really wanted to do after the war ended was to understand human nature. Why were some people very good people and people who cared about justice and humanity, and then there were others who took a different road of evil, and that's something I had really difficult time understanding. So I chose my career with that hope of getting better understanding of human nature. And so I think I had a lot of empathy for people, and I knew I wanted to help people. And I think that was a very important skill to have, to know that, you can help people who are struggling with their own issues. And that's the reason I decided to choose social work as the vehicle for that.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of your talks, and I did see you recently, what's the typical type of question that the students ask you?
They ask about, what helped me through those really difficult times, and how I dealt with adversities, and I felt that they wanted to know about me, but I think they were also directing the question so they would learn about themselves, because I think a lot of students and a lot of people have their own difficulties in life, and knowing how to navigate those difficulties, people need to learn how to do that. So some of those questions had to do with that. And also, I remember one student coming to me after I spoke and asking the question of, how do I speak to my parents who are racist? And that question I had never been asked before, and sort of stopped me in my tracks. But questions like that, the fact that this student, 17-year-old boy, was able to feel understood and trusted me to be able to help him with something like that.
Yes, that's the first word that came to my mind was trust.
Mm-hmm.
That you made such a
Trust.
a warm, loving impression.
And the connection.
Right.
So, I'm very grateful, because I speak, majority of my talks is with middle schools and high schools,
Right.
and I feel that I feel understood by them, and I feel I understand them, because what happened to me at such a young age, some of these students are having their own issues, so they can relate or they can connect, make that connection.
Yeah, so it's a real gift for you to go into these schools.
I feel it's a gift to me also. I do. I get a lot of inspiration from these students.
In some of these schools you've been going into year after year. I think Wilmington was 20 years, did I hear?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Almost every year?
Almost every year.
Wow.
Yes.
So Rashaun, you became an E9. I was in the U.S. Navy, and I became an E5 after 5 years. But to be we would consider career if you did 20 years?
Yes.
You do 30 or more, it's lifer.
Yes.
How do you feel that you're no longer active duty or even reserve?
Great.
Okay. One word
loved
sums it up.
No, I loved serving while I served, but I enjoy this season of life as well.
Right. And you were the first African-American female to become a Master Chief?
To become a Reserve Gold Badge Command Master Chief.
What does Reserve Gold Badge actually mean?
Basically, you're the senior enlisted advisor. I was a senior enlisted advisor to the Admiral. So our area of responsibility was from the Canadian border down to New Jersey. And so we were responsible for that area. And more specifically, I worked simultaneously with my active duty counterpart to support the enlisted workforce. So it was my greatest responsibility, but my greatest reward as well,
Right.
career-wise.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So you have people so it's sort of breaking the glass ceiling.
Yes.
And the person that we named our organization after, the Flow Creek Jacobson Initiative, was my wife, who passed away 20 years ago. And she grew up in the Deep South. She was African American, and when she came to Boston, she got a good education and became a lawyer. And she broke the glass ceiling 6 times for the Boston Police Department.
Wow.
And her final position was superintendent. She was the administrative hearing officer, so she was a judge. So,
Very nice.
so my hat's off to both you amazing women.
Oh, thank you. And it's an honor to sit next to you. So
I feel the same way
feel
about
very
you.
privileged. No, thank you.
So here's a question. How do you define resilience relative to your life? What you know about resilience? Either one of you ladies can answer first.
Well, I think one aspect of resilience is hopefulness, never losing that ability to be hopeful and to be able to adapt to situations, any kind of situations, to be able to pivot and know that things change. Nothing is static. Things keep changing, and things will get better. Things like that.
Good, thank you. How about you, Rashaun?
I would say the same, just the ability to be able to rise above or beyond the situation that may be beyond your control, and to have that hope, even if it's just enough to get to the next step, and just enough to get to through the next moment, and then the next moment. It's like I can't see beyond today, but I have just enough strength to get to the next moment. So I think that's can be celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I think we
I
have
think
the-
it's also important to surround yourself with positive and supportive people that can help you when you're in need, and not to be afraid to ask for help when you need it. Yeah.
Excellent. Yeah, I agree. So, how has your early life experiences shaped your ability to cope with adversity? And it's part of the same question. Was there someone during your childhood to both encourage you, even model how to survive and ultimately thrive in life as life comes and may knock you down and you keep getting up?
I can go with that one first. I would say my mother. Unfortunately, she was in an abusive relationship for 6 years, and as painful as it was to see that journey, to see her on the other side of it was beautiful and powerful, and I gained a lot from that. And although I didn't discuss it a lot early on, that taught me a lot of resilience of, if I can get through that, I can probably get through boot camp, hopefully. And if I can get through boot camp, I could probably get through the ceremonial honor guards training, So I would say my mother, she was my greatest cheerleader and greatest support. So seeing what she went through and how she rose above it and didn't allow it to define her, but made her better in spite of it, was very powerful and encouraging for me to see. So,
Very nice. What was her first name?
Her birth name was Ellenstein, but she never went by that. Patsy, that's what she preferred to be called. So
Nice.
that's what people called her.
Sounds like an amazing woman.
She was, yes.
Thank you. How about you, Janet?
Well, the first 4 years of my life were idyllic. I came from a large extended family with grandparents, cousins, aunts, uncles, and just lovely memories of those first 4 years. And then the next 6 years were really difficult because I was major part of that time I was with strangers. My parents made several attempts at escaping. when all options failed, they made this harrowing decision of giving me away. And so I was, I was going from stranger to stranger, and then and I had my identity changed, so there were really hard times. The other thing was that I had to be secretive about my own identity, and I knew, for some reason, I don't even know how this was instilled in me. I just knew that this is what I had to do, and I could not reveal my own identity, and I was aware of the danger, and I'm not sure how that was instilled in me, but life was difficult, and so during those years, I didn't have any particular person that gave me this strength, although the family that I ended up with, the Catholic family, were very kind and loving, and I felt safe there, although I also did not reveal my true identity. But it wasn't until I was reunited with my father. He was my hero. I think I learned really important lessons from him. So I think he would be the most influential person in my life.
Right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Germany invaded Poland in 1941, I believe.
39. September 1st, 1939.
That's right. I should have that committed to memory. Mm-hmm. And your parents had to give you up because they knew where they were going.
Well, at first we escaped to Russia.
Right.
And then we returned back to Poland, which was, in hindsight, a grave mistake. And then one more time we tried to escape, and we were caught by the Polish Blue Police. That was a segment of the Polish police that cooperated and collaborated with the Nazis. Wow. So we were caught by them. We made to return, and at that point my parents realized that there were no other options but to give me away.
Right. And so one of the things that in your book, which I've read, which is wonderful, you were blonde-haired and green-eyed, and you could pass for somebody who wasn't Jewish, and that was one of your things that kept you out of hot water, and you had to change your name from Gustava
Right.
to, what was your next name?
My Polish identity was Krystyna Antoszkiewicz. And this was obtained from a Catholic priest. This was a girl who died. She was about my own age, and I took on this girl's identity.
Wow.
And so there's a picture of you getting your first communion.
Well, that was very interesting because this happened after the war ended. And the reason for the photo with the girls getting my first communion was so that when the war ended, anti-Semitism was extremely severe, even after the war ended. And at that time, I was with my cousin, and he also had falsified Christian identity. So as a subterfuge, I had my first communion so that we would look like a good, religious Catholic family.
Right. So how many children were in the orphanage?
There were about 70 children, like myself. I was 10 years old when the war ended.
And how many got reunited with a parent?
I don't know of any other one.
You might be the only one.
I might have been the only one, yes.
And how did they identify you?
My name was Krysia. That was my Polish name, Krysia.
But your father spent months trying to find you, and it was a community of 350,000 people?
At that time, I believe the population of Krakow was 350,000.
Right.
and he was looking,
And
he had no idea where I was.
And in the book, it's a shortest chapter about birthmark.
Yes, he went to the refugee center, and at the same time, the director of the orphanage was there to pick up some provisions. She overheard a man asking about his daughter, and she asked him to describe me. And he said, long blonde braids, green eyes, and a birthmark on her left thigh. So she thought for a moment and said, I think I have your daughter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
How did you feel when you saw your father?
Well, I was scared of him because he looked like a skeleton. He was emaciated and not well, and he wanted to take me away, and I didn't want to go because for the first time I had friends. Lena was our mother, and I hadn't seen him for about 3.5 years.
Wow.
So and he wasn't well, so he rented a room nearby, and I did see him every day, and we got reacquainted, and eventually he was able to take me.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
And since we're on the subject, I can ask one more question if you don't mind.
No.
How did you select coming to this country? He gave you that option, I think.
He
right?
did. So, as I mentioned, anti-Semitism was very, very severe. And we were getting notices on our door, posted notes on our door saying that we would be murdered.
Wow.
And 2 of my father's friends were murdered after the war. So we had to leave our town. We moved to the city. And one day I was out with my father walking in the park, and we sat on a bench, and he said, he looked very serious, and he said, I have something important to talk to you about. And he said, conditions in Poland are very bad for Jews. We can't remain here. We have to move. You have two uncles. Your uncle Adek lives in Palestine, and your uncle Jack lives in America. Where do you want to go? And I thought for a moment, and I said, I want to go to America. And he said, why? Why do you want to go there? And I said, because I heard that money grows on trees. So,
Did you find the store that had all that money growing on trees?
still looking.
Still looking.
Yeah.
So, well, here's another question, maybe from your heart. Do you think resilience, do you think there's a resilience gene that we have, that we're born with, or do you think it's something that we learn, or a combination of both?
I think there may be a combination of both, but for the most part, I think it's something that is learned from the models in your life and from your experiences.
Right.
I would totally agree. Totally agree. I'm sure I wouldn't have been able to navigate the way that I have been over the years without just a great community of people helping. So I'd like to think it was in me, but it wasn't. So they helped me to grow. Yeah, maybe a little. Maybe a little.
So with all the challenges that we all face as adults, what has been your main source of strength, of resilience? Is there a place deep inside of you that you can rely on to be there to give you the strength to navigate those difficult times, those difficult issues in life?
For me, my greatest inspiration are the students that I speak to, because for the longest time I didn't think that my story was an important one to share. I minimized my own experience because I didn't consider myself as survivor. I thought survivors were people who were in concentration camps. But when I started to speak and I realized that, my message has value, and I saw the reaction from so many students, it confirmed that, it's important to spread this message. And there is a saying in the Talmud, and I'm going to paraphrase, which is, if you save even one life, you have saved the world. So I feel if I help someone to make some changes in their own lives, and I feel very gratified for that.
Nice.
And I can relate to some of what you said, particularly when it came to speaking. I didn't enjoy speaking publicly initially in the military, but by the nature of my job, I knew that was going to be an expectation. So I did it more so with my head and not so much because I felt a sense of calling. And I used to try to share other people's stories, and then I realized, wow, I think I have some stories of my own that I could probably be sharing. And so as I began to share my stories, it was seeing the response of people, kind of like what you were saying, that I thought, wow, if people are responding to my kind of triumphing over adversity in this way, then I need to not fight it, but surrender to it. So I did. But I would say my big source of resiliency to kind of rise above it, I have no doubt for me, has been my faith. So.
Yeah, thank you. So if you were to share a summary of one or two of those stories of your resilience that you shared in your presentations, would you be able to do that right now?
Sure. One of the more challenging ones for sure was my transition from active duty to the reserves. The reason for that transition was started out when my child was 4.5 months old, and I found out that she had been shaken baby syndrome in child care, and it was devastating. We couldn't pinpoint who was the culprit, but we knew it could only be one of two places. We didn't know whether she was going to live or die, or what kind of condition she was going to be in, and it was complete devastation. I think without the support of my community and the people that I work for as well, everyone was phenomenal. And obviously there was a big investigation because at the time, if you all remember the Matthew Eapen story where he was shaken and he lost his life, that kind of put Shaken Baby on the map in Boston.
Right.
So my daughter was only probably about 5 or 6 years after that. And I wasn't even familiar with Shaken Baby syndrome at the time, so it was just complete devastation. And then if she lives, what is her life going to look like? So just broken and needing all of the support that I could possibly get. It was, like I said, the biggest challenge, and the investigation was still going on. So during that period, the doctors kept coming in the hospital saying, "We can't believe how well she's recovering." So that was huge in and of itself, because she seemed to be on her way back, which was incredible to us, but there was still an investigation going on. And because she was improving so rapidly, they ended up getting temporary custody of our daughter, which again, more devastation, because they couldn't rule anyone out at that time. So again, all hands on deck. They're like, you can come to court, you can fight for your daughter because she's going to be released from the hospital like this day. And it was standing room only with my command and my church. And I think one line that stood out to me that sounded so powerful, these legal folks were saying, "Who are all of these people?" And this one guy says, "It's the United States Coast Guard and the church."
Wow.
And the support, like I said, I will never forget that. My family was so just grateful for the phenomenal support. And they ended up not even having a hearing. They said, you can take your daughter home, even though there was still the investigation going on.
Right.
It was just incredible favor because I guess they figured with all of the people that we had, and I just remember just so many people praying for us, and slowly my daughter coming back. And one of the most difficult things I've ever gone through, the detective strongly believed that it was the husband, but unfortunately they had just circumstantial evidence. But at that point, we were just happy that she's home and she's doing better. And so
The husband of the place that she was staying in?
Yes,
Daycare?
the husband of the daycare provider. It was home daycare. And so even years later, many years later, I'm thinking, one of my many favorite quotes is, adversity doesn't leave you the way it finds you, but how it leaves you is up to you. And so I remember many times like, God, I don't know why this happened. I don't know why you allowed this to happen, but I am so thankful for the many amazing things that I've seen in this. And as many opportunities as you give me to share my story, I will. And little did I know when I became a motivational speaker, the many opportunities, especially when my daughter would be in the audience, because I would tell them, she's not 4.5 months old, but she's 25 and she's here today. And then to introduce her to the audience, and I said, Haley, and I hope one day you'll be sharing your story. So again, one of the most difficult times in my life, but a profound opportunity to see the support and encouragement of people and what it means to be there for people and show up for people. So it just taught me that when people are going through things, don't sit on your hands.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be the first ones to stand up and help. So, yeah.
Thank you for sharing. That's a beautiful story.
Thank you.
How long did the court case last?
6 months.
That long?
6 months of just kind of observing, because unfortunately, like I said, the police strongly felt that it was the husband of the daycare provider, but ironically, Matthew Epen, the little boy that passed away 4 or 5 years before, the nanny that was charged, she had a very high-profile dream team of attorneys, and my daycare provider hired one of them. So once that attorney came in, it was all bets were off to get more information. So
What was the outcome?
they had circumstantial evidence. So
didn't go anywhere.
No,
But you got your daughter back.
unfortunately. Yeah. So I said,
she's
you know
healthy.
what? We have a story to tell, and there are people that want to hear your story. So we.
And your
will-
daughter's doing well today?
She is. She keeps
Wonderful.
me praying, but she's doing well.
That's wonderful.
So yeah, she's 26 now.
Mhm.
Nice, thank you. So, as far as stress, 'cause that's a big part of life, and what skill sets, what habits, what philosophy do you both have to deal with stress? Prayer, meditation, exercise, or something other than that?
Well, food does not help me, so I've never been an emotional eater, which is a blessing.
You're very lucky.
Yes. Excuse me. But I think when I'm going through stress, certainly a lot of prayer and reading of the Bible. And additionally, I would say just having a strong support network of friends that can be an encouragement. Someone that's not too close to the picture, that can see things a lot clearer than I can help me to land the plane a little bit better than by myself. Again, one of my many favorite quotes, alone I can go fast, but together we can go far. So
You're a quote person too.
I
huh?
love quotes, yes.
Good, thank you.
I concur with what you said about friendships and support from wherever you can get support from. And I'm fortunate that I have wonderful network of friends and family, and food, sadly. It doesn't, it helps temporarily, but it has long-term consequences. But mostly getting the support from others that helps me.
So food helps get through the initial shock of whatever it is.
It's right. I think probably that's the case. Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I meditate on a regular basis and exercise and pray and have great friends. I'm very blessed with some amazing friends. As far as quotes go, I love the quote that's on your business card. Rashaun, could you share that with us?
Yes, the quote that's on my business card is, "There's no growth in the comfort zone and no comfort in the growth zone." So that's one of my resounding messages, is stepping outside of your comfort zone.
And I think that really connects directly with resilience, to know that if it feels uncomfortable, what do? Do we move forward, or do we go back into a former state of defensiveness? Do you have any quotes? A quote that really has worked for you to help stabilize your journey, Janet?
Nothing that really comes to mind about helping with stress, but I can't think
That's
right
okay.
now what else I could say on that, about that.
No problem. Thank you. So if you can think back on all your friends that you've been there for, in even patients, or people you mentored, can you tell us about a time that you mentored somebody? Could be a story. You don't have to share the story exactly, but that made a lasting impact on them in the trajectory of their life.
I just recall speaking to a group of middle schoolers, and a young girl coming up to me later after I finished and saying, "You were so brave, you have taught me to be braver." And that always stuck with me because, I didn't fully realize the impact that my talk might have on other people. And so, that always reminds me that, yes, I can make a difference, and that's very gratifying and humbling experience to know that
Right.
you have the ability or the power or to help people realize their own potentials.
And it's good that some of the children come forward and give you that feedback, but it's hard to know or fathom how many of all the children and adults that have heard you were also inspired, and how you've helped them. It's intangible. You really can't measure it necessarily.
No, you can't measure it.
Right.
Except I get thousands of letters, and years later people remember. So.
So you do have something tangible.
Yeah,
Those
I guess,
letters.
yeah,
It's
the letters.
beautiful. Beautiful.
True.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you. And Rashaun, as a veteran working with so many people over the years, can you think of one or two stories of somebody you might have touched as a mentor or a confidant?
I would say one woman comes to mind, and I don't even think it wasn't anyone that I had spent a lot of time with. I feel like sometimes, and I am sure you can relate to that, it's those moments, just little moments here that may seem small and insignificant to you, and then you can find out later sometimes that how meaningful it was to someone else, because I just showed kindness to a lady, and she seemed to be hurting, so I listened, tried to be a support, and offered her to pray for her situation. And it was probably a year later that this woman walks up to me and she says, I will never forget you. This is what's going on in my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And because I meet so many people, but probably not as many as you, my memory is not always that great. And so after she left, because I couldn't remember who that was, my daughter said, do you know who that was? Do you remember a year ago we were at this table? And she's giving me the details. And she said, that's who that was. And the woman had basically told me, she says, I will never forget you. Thank you for what you did. And really all I did was listen and pray for her. So,
So what's amazing about kindness, it has a ripple effect. So you were kind to her, she in place, I'm sure she'll be kind
yes.
to others, you know. Hopefully that's what we wish for, right?
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Just by how we go through life day after day.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite quotes is by Marcus Aurelius, the last of the so-called 5 great Roman emperors. And he said, always do the right thing. And that's all there is to do. Do the right thing for the right reasons in the right way. And it's up to us to define what the right thing is. And if we can be thoughtful about other people, that's always in the formula for me.
I love that.
It's so simple and yet so profound, right?
It is,
Yeah.
it is. And that helps me navigate my ship of life. So.
And kind of like what you said, because I've been on the receiving end of incredible support and love and grace. When given the opportunity, how can I not? So it's that kind of gift that keeps on giving. So,
Right.
Right. So if you were to meet somebody, there might be people listening now, that's really struggling with something in life. It could be a health issue, it could be an emotional issue, it could be a job issue, finances. What advice would either one of you give that person? You don't know the details, obviously, but how would you ask them, how would you guide them to find a place of strength? I could be that person. What would you say to me?
Well, sometimes when someone presents with a problem, and it seems that they don't know, what direction to turn on, how to navigate some kind of resolution. I think it might be helpful to break down that problem into smaller segments, or so it's not this overpowering, incredible block that they cannot get through. So that might be one possible suggestion,
So they wouldn't feel so overwhelmed. Like a whole
But-
dark, ominous clouds
yeah,
in the
that
sky.
might be one approach. Yeah,
Thank you.
I think, what else?
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer because you don't know the details.
You don't know details.
Yeah, I think it's more about people don't care. There's another great quote. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Absolutely.
And I think that is the beginning place.
Absolutely.
I think it's important for the person to trust themselves and to even if a mistake is made, or the wrong approach is taken, it's not the end of the world. Things can be corrected, and I guess what I'm trying to say is that often people are so hard on themselves. They blame themselves, they put themselves down, and that's such a dark place to go to.
Right.
It's a sort of spirals, and if you can help the person see the this shining things about them, or the things that are positive. You can help them see themselves in a better light.
Mhm.
I think that would help, I think.
I think so too.
No, I would agree with that. Just that encouragement and to let them know, I see you.
Right.
I may not have gone through it. I may not have felt what you felt, but empathize. And I see you, I hear you, I can listen, you know, and I may not have gone through that, but here's what I've gone through, and here's how I got through it. And I'm not saying that you have to use these same techniques or, you know, or whatnot, but this is what has helped me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when people see that you're genuine and that you're authentic and that you really care, it goes a long way.
I agree.
That reminds me, I recently had an experience. I spoke to a group at jail, prison, middle security prison, and it was the most amazing experience that brought me to tears. These men, I made a connection with them, or they with me, and as you were saying, I knew that they felt understood, that I saw humanity in them. I was looking beyond whatever crime they had committed. I saw them as humans, and it was a beautiful exchange between us.
And so they felt as though you did not judge them, and you accepted them for being human.
Exactly.
Right. So we're almost out of time, but Viktor Frankl's book, Man's Search for Meaning, in the book he talks about the one of the things that helped him the most get through the atrocities of the Holocaust and being in concentration camps, losing his wife and unborn child, and how he started life over again. And it's by a quote by Nietzsche. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. So if I'm in a really tough place, and I have been in the past, the thing that kept me going on a few occasions were my two sons.
Yeah.
The thought of them, knowing that I need to be there for them,
Yes.
and I need to be strong for them. So we're just about out of time, but I'd like to ask, in a nutshell, what is your purpose right now in life? You know, in a nutshell.
To keep doing what I'm doing for as long as I can, because I'm 90 years old, and if I can help even one person, I feel that I will have been a success at what I'm trying to achieve. So just keep doing what I'm doing. That's my purpose.
Well, if I may say, you're bringing a lot of light to a lot of people, including me, Janet. Thank you.
Thank you.
How about you, Rashaun?
So probably over 10 years ago, I would swap out a signature on my email. And once I had this one in particular, I just couldn't shake it. I wanted to stay there as a reminder to me. And it says, may it be said, when the sun sets on your life, you made a difference. So for me, I would just say being a difference maker in a nutshell.
Thank you. And you might have heard this question before, but if you could pick any person, living or dead, that's ever lived to be your mentor now or at any time in your life, who would that be and why?
I would choose two people.
Okay.
My father, who was my hero. He taught me very important lessons in life. And the other person would be my son, David, who I feel he was a visionary, and he did so much good in his life, and I would want him to be my mentor.
Thank you.
There's a long list, but I will name one. I would say Desmond Doss. Desmond Doss, they did a movie about his life called Hacksaw Ridge.
Yes.
Yes, and he was misunderstood. He had a passion to want to
Conscientious
serve.
objector.
Yes.
Yes.
He wanted to serve his country, but he was viewed as a coward, and he ended up being the biggest hero within the unit. He just needed an opportunity, and his leadership, his passion, his faith, all of that is something that I think most leaders respect and would want to emulate because he cared about people. So
Purely. It was a pure sense of love
yes,
and purpose.
Yes.
And he translated that into action that saved lives.
yes,
Very powerful.
yes. Great
So
film.
thank you, ladies.
Thank
It's been
you.
a wonderful experience for me.
Thank you.
So your collective life experiences and shared wisdom has really enriched me and hopefully everybody else who's watching. Thank you for sharing this past hour with us at Beacon for Wellness and the SMAC Studios. And may 2026, which is just a couple days away, be very joyful, healthy, and prosperous for you and your family. Thank you.